Hey Brick Maniacs, it's Lando here. Today we have Dan with us and he's going to show off his all-new Sikorsky helicopter. What do we have here, Dan?
This is the HH-60 Whiskey, or W, PAVE HAWK. So the brand new PAVE HAWK helicopter, it's air combat search and rescue helicopter used by the U.S. Air Force.
Yes, this is Sikorsky's latest helicopter. This is cutting-edge technology.
Yeah, well, it's the latest PAVE HAWK.
Yes, latest PAVE HAWK.
I'm sure they
can't talk about their latest helicopter.
Yeah,
they told us not to. No, wait, they didn't tell us not to.
They didn't tell us about it. How about that?
I can confirm or deny. They didn't tell us about it.
We're the last people to learn things. We're about the least priority.
Oh, tell the Lego guys now to make a helicopter.
Yeah.
No. What do we have? Let's go over this.
So this is the PAVE HAWK. PAVE HAWK, of course, we've done one before. We did the G, the HH-60G, and this is the all-new updated version. So updated in every way. So which means that the actual U.S. Air Force is replacing all of their aging PAVE HAWK fleet with this brand new version, which is it's based on the Black Hawk, the MH-60 M model, I believe, which is the latest Black Hawk. So it has all the different avionics, all the new upgraded systems, basically in the PAVE HAWK formation, or PAVE HAWK configuration, not formation. So PAVE HAWK is designed to basically intrude into hostile territory, has a fueling probe, has Doppler radar, has all kinds of sensors to sense weapons, has chaff dispensers, which we actually have represented on this model, just as they are now. They have new ducting for the turbines. And the ducting basically deflects the heat away from the ground. So you have somebody with an anti-radiation missile or not anti-heat-seeking missile will have a harder time shooting this thing down. So it'll have a much smaller heat signature. That's some of the incorporated features. I mean, there's still like the classic everything you'd expect on a PAVE HAWK. It still has the folding tail. The rotors all fold up. It does what it's supposed to do. So it can be stored. It can be the whole rotor system basically folds up. So you can put it into your C-130, which of course is sold separately, or transport out by ship and things like that. So
yes, and this is an incredibly sturdy model, which is typical of.
Yes, which means it's actually it's a little harder to once you get it together. It's sturdy. When you're building it in pieces, and it does use some pretty interesting snot techniques. There's literally studs facing every direction.
So it is a bit more of a challenging build.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you get is pretty freaking awesome.
And you do get these GAU-18. These are the basically the Air Force version of the M2HB with these gigantic barrels. You get one on each side. Typically, if you're doing a combat rescue scenario, there'll be usually a pair of these. One will be on the ground to rescue the downed airmen. This is the whole idea, is that downed airmen or anybody trapped behind enemy lines, or even you could use this to even pick up special forces, retrieve or deposit or retrieve special forces. But one on the ground, the other one doing a sort of a gunship circling the area, making sure that they're flying cover. But when you're infiltrating the space where you need to go, they do have the guns. They can be trained forward and fired by the pilot. So as you're flying in, you can train the guns. They do have these windows open. You have the gunners can reach out and actually just train the guns as well. So just want to point that out. We do have the guns. They have these special belts that Brick Arms have made for us. Typically, this ammo belt would actually be stuck into the ammo box here. But when I was test building, it's like it's not quite flexible enough to make it work right. It always just points it in the direction you don't want it to be in. So I just made it so it's looping around.
So this is sturdy, and it's a close enough approximation of what it actually is like in real life. So
yeah, and I can actually show off some of the features inside. So just like the older Black Hawks, the doors they are posable. They're not sliding. I wish I could make it slide, but it's too bulky of a connection. So they're posable, but you just pick them up and move them in the location you want. I'll just rip this roof off here.
All right.
So, not recommended at home, folks, for ripping the, here, take that door off. Put this back together. Dan handled the helicopter. So we'll take the roof off here. So you can see inside the Black Hawk now. We do have room for the two pilots up here. There's some printed details inside. And just like I don't know if you can see that, there's a printed dash and a printed console between the two pilots. These doors do open for the pilots.
Oh, so nice.
You'd be able to
that's a newer addition.
Yeah, this was an upgrade I made on the previous Black Hawk.
Right.
These windows pop out. Let's see if I can pop one out here without tearing the whole thing apart. So you can, as I demonstrate, tearing it apart. Not what I wanted to do, but you can take the windows out so the gunners can reach out and use the machine guns, just like on the real thing. You do get 2 stretchers. They're just kind of attached into the wall here. They're removable. I have a feeling that unless they're going to actually know that they're going to need these, they probably would just chuck the stretchers anyway. They wouldn't carry them in. But there are racks that you can attach them inside the.
It's my understanding that this version of this helicopter has an expanded fuel tank, so there's a bit.
It does. So in the back of the previous version of, and this isn't just mine, but the real thing, this bulkhead was further back in the helicopter, and the fuel tanks, they'd have these sort of portable fuel bladders that they just throw in there for long range missions, and they actually built that in now, so no longer is there a fuel bladder taking up space in the crew compartment.
They figured they used it so commonly, so much that
it's just integrated into part of the system. Just like in the previous versions, they kept strapping on all kinds of extra equipment on the outside, the chaff dispensers. Now most of that's integral into the airframe. We do have a ton of printed parts, I should point out.
Yeah, so that nose is.
The console on the inside, the consoles plural on the inside. Sure. Here, let's see. You have the dash. You have the console between the two pilots. You have the sensors on the nose and the FLIR underneath. Those are all printed. This new printed tile on the side, plus 6 different chaff dispensers that are printed as well. On the tail, we had to put stickers on. So there's one sticker sheet that's just getting the tail numbers. That way, we couldn't actually print on that multiple surfaces. So it is a sticker.
It's interesting, the roundels for the stars and bars, kind of a different configuration that I've seen commonly for most aircraft, but I thought these look kind of cool. So.
Right, and we only have 4 completed models to go on, so we're
not a whole lot of pictures yet.
Right. So we're using pictures. We did get some feedback from people that work on the program, said we had it pretty much right. Of course, things changed with 4 being made. They may not match the ones coming out, but as we find out more information, we can always update the kit. So
that is kind of a cool process to be able to work back and forth a little bit with people in the actual programs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of nice. I mean, I'm sure there's things that they're not allowed to tell us, which is fine because we don't want to be like kidnapped by the Russians to get all the information. Not that that'll ever happen, but
they'd kidnap you to build their knockoff sets better. Is that what's going to happen?
Yes.
Oh, no.
We want you to incorporate this into the data. Anyway.
Yeah. Shots fired.
Let me fix my.
Anything else you want to go over? Well,
no, you do get the cargo winch. I should point that out. The cargo winch is a regular feature. Basically, if you're pulling, you hook onto the stretcher, pull it up into the plane. Right. How you're going to do that is a question. I didn't put a harness together for that, but you'll have to tie some unique knots to make that happen. But that would be a realistic thing that you'd pull your airmen out of up from the ground. You wouldn't have to actually land on the ground to rescue. Which, like, if you're in really rough terrain or in, say, a canopy, like a tree forested canopy, you wouldn't be able to actually land anyway.
And they'll clip like 2 guys up at the same time, zip both up.
They'll have the PJs, which we'll talk about the figures in a second, because this does come with 6 completely new custom figures.
Yeah, crazy.
So enough of this. Let's talk.
Let's talk about the figures. Pilots first, or gunners? Let's do pilots first.
It's up to you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm debuting a all-new camouflage pattern on here, and this is as close as I can get right now to an approximation of that all-new OCP, specifically OCP, this operational camouflage pattern based on multicam. The biggest thing I noticed the difference from multicam and this newer camouflage. At a glance, they look almost the same. I think this newer version is a bit more saturated, so I've opted to use it's just the contrast between the lights and darks is a bit more intense compared to multicam, I think. And when you're deploying, since it's a brand new it's a newer camouflage pattern, they probably have newer uniforms. So this is a new camouflage design here.
And these are Air Force, all Air Force personnel.
Yeah. And all Air Force. So on the pilot, you have the pistol on the chest. Some new face artwork. There's sort of that simulated visor, a little bit of there's a gradient going on, so it's a little bit lighter at the top, maybe simulating a distant horizon or something. So pilots, you get 2 of those on light flesh and medium flesh, and then the door gunners, you get 2 door gunners as well. So it's these 2 torsos and legs are the same, these 2 torso and legs are the same, and these 2 torso and legs. So 3 unique guys. and 5 unique heads, I think is what this is.
Yeah, because the color variations.
If you include the color variations. So on the door gunners, there's some interesting pictures out there. It has these shooter goggles or shooter glasses, just in that amber color to help cut down glare. And then of course you have that really intense looking mandible cover, just for an additional face protection when manning those door guns. Pretty light loadout here, just some ammo pouches on the front. And what else do I have? A little side leg holster.
We should point out that figure is printed, even the torso is printed on the side.
Yes, even the torso. Yeah, tactical watch on the side. Tactical watch.
Gotta have the watch.
Yes. Know what time it is.
Can't be whipping out your phone while in a firefight.
Tactical watch. Next up is the PJs.
Combat Pararescuemen.
So these are the guys that are rappelling out of this thing.
Yeah, or any way they have to go to rescue, wherever they got to go to rescue the downed airmen or whoever is in need of rescue.
Yeah. So these guys have a radio, some ammo pouches. What else?
Looks like you printed on that helmet too.
Yes, the helmet's got the rails and night vision mount to kind of simulate a close approximation of those fast helmets that they're using in real life. Yeah, some more, that's just some funny things that I noticed on a few of the source images that I found. There's some speed mags on the side mounted upside down, so it's extra fast. So it's really cool. Some cool tactical stuff. One thing that's, some goggles on both these guys, because there's probably a ton of dust being kicked up when they're rappelling down, so they're wearing goggles. And then I guess a feature that I always think is kind of interesting between all these figures is the different unique shoes that they're all wearing. So they're based off of real life different boots that Air Force approved boots or shoes. I've seen a lot of these parajumpers are wearing almost more like mountain climbing shoes, a lot lighter weight than probably a traditional combat boot would be, just to give them so they can go faster when they're doing these high-speed operations. So, yeah, just some interesting details. So you might recognize these boots, but that's one of my favorite parts on these figures anyway. So, yeah, that's the figures.
Awesome. That's, prominent part of the kit. So
yeah, absolutely.
You have no combat rescue helicopter without the combat rescue team that goes in it. So
that's right.
So that is it. Here, I just to demonstrate. Here's how you fold up the.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
the rotor, so it can fold. We stick this thing and put it all back together, which will be something for another episode. But
nice.
Yep.
Okay, it's back on.
It's back on. Right on.
So thank you. This is the latest Sikorsky helicopter and arguably one of the coolest ones ever. So thank you for showing this again. Yep. And that's the episode. For more information, please check out brickmania.com.